I think there is a difference between peer governance and democracy, direct or indirect, and I'll try to explain in the following way. Think about a market, think about a hierarchy, and think about democracy. Those are simply three different ways to allocate resources. A market says, you know, through the price, effort will go to the most valuable thing to do. And hierarchy says we're clever because we know everything, and so we will organize production for you. And democracy says we have different groups with different interests, so we'll negotiate about who gets what. But peer governance functions in the immaterial environment of intellectual cooperation over the networks. And you are basically self-aggregating your resources. So as long as you're self-aggregating your resources, you don't need any other way to aggregate your resources. You don't need a market, you don't need a hierarchy, and you don't need democracy. And the type of relations you have is I voluntarily contribute to a common project, and so do you. And you're not paying me, so why should I listen to you? So you need consensus, you need expertise, you need engagement, and somehow, and we see that it works, that people can actually, you know, have very complex projects organized through peer governance. Now, this is one side of the equation. The other side of the equation is that in order to cooperate, you have a number of fixed costs. You need an infrastructure of cooperation. You need servers. These servers are a renewable resource, so you need cost recovery mechanisms. So there you are in a different domain where you actually need to allocate and protect resources. So what happens in peer production that is in that environment, people create non-profits. The Mozilla Foundation, the Apache Foundation, the Wikimedia Foundation. And they will manage the infrastructure of cooperation on behalf of the community. But because they are dealing with scarce resources, you need a democratic structure. And so I would say overall, a society is dealing not just with immaterial resources, but mostly with scarce material resources, with hunger, food, you know, physical things. We still need democracy. But to the degree that you're dealing with intellectual cooperation and culture and knowledge and open design, you are in peer governance. So what I think is happening is that, you know, let's say this is the volume of democracy we have in society, this is the volume of peer governance, is that the space of peer governance will grow, but will not totally replace the sphere of democracy. I think that's impossible as long as we live in a material world.